That works well.
Of course, we do have. Trees on my side. Start that out. Yeah. Because we took the work was going down and under. Down some.
Jane is ill, but she can phone in for audio participation. So Jane Hoover is on the speaker. I'm going to set her down where she can hear what's going on and everybody can hear what her comments are. So with that announcement, we will call to order the Board of Aldermen meeting for the City of Plattewoods for August 17, 2023. In front of everybody is the agenda that we posted as required by statute and the minutes from the July 13th meeting. So I'll ask the aldermen to review those documents and then I'll ask for a motion to approve. The aldermen have reviewed the agenda and the minutes, and if there's no corrections or anything, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Jane? Good. Okay. Yeah, we hear you. Can everybody hear that? Keith, can you hear that? The agenda as presented and posted and the minutes from July 13th are approved as written. The next item of business is, since there was no formal public participation, we will not do that now. I do have a request for one that we will do before the end of the meeting. So it's time for the chief to do the police and Jessica to do the court, please.
So everybody's got the call service. They're pretty minimal this year, or this last month. We're still undergoing some of the staff shortage at the communication center. So any self-initiated activity for most of July was cut down to zero or very minimal. We'll see that starting to pick up just a little bit. As we go in, there's one of the dispatchers goes full-time by herself, I think, in September. So that may relieve some of the staffing, but they're still short. There's ordinance, the only really significant slight increase was an ordinance violation and investigation and follow-on. Other than that, everything was pretty much standard compared to last month. One of the things Sergeant Babbitt announced today that he is going to retire the first part of 2024. He's got his mother-in-law is in California and she's getting elderly and she needs some care. So him and his wife are going to go to California after the first of the year. So they're just getting things lined out for that. So he did tell me that it'll be the first part of next year. Could be as early as December, but probably January. So that's really the only big announcement there. And I'll work with the mayor on strategically how we're going to handle that vacancy. So that is my report.
Before we move to court, any alderman remarks? And Jane, you have anything on the police report? Or Eric?
I have a quick question regarding the police chief regarding school starting next week, and are the police going to be present as they usually are at bus stops and things again?
Yes, we'll be on patrol during those times to watch. Our residents are very, very good about, I think, every bus stop. There's at least one or two or three parents. I cannot think of one bus stop that there's not a parent out there all the time. So that's good to see and kind of help the community, even if there's additional kids there. There's at least one or two parents there at each stop. So.
You hear that,
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I did. Yes, I did. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not from the alderman in the audience? If not, Jessica, you.
I will. I did talk to the general foreman on the 72nd Street Bridge. They're moving along with that. He does expect probably in the next, it'll probably be 20 to maybe 30 days now, they'll be switching lanes over to the other side and getting ready to demo the southbound lane. So he was pretty enthused that things are starting to go a little bit quicker than they did at first. So that may be good news.
May I ask a quick question about that? When they switch it over, will you get on and off the opposite direction then? Or will they keep?
Going north on I-29.
Yeah,
Like right now, coming
you can go north,
you can
get off on, yeah.
But when they switch the traffic on the other way, then will that make it the opposite?
I would expect it to be, and I'll ask him that. They've got that northbound entrance ramp, and it's getting ready to be done. So I would expect that would be open, which would help going north. But still, they have some utilities that they're still dealing with. They had to order something on the drain or something up on the interstate, and it hadn't come in yet, so they're waiting for that to finish up that process. So he said that'll hold them up a little bit.
Okay.
And the southbound entrance ramp was coming along as well too. So hopefully it'll be open, but it'd be nice if they were all open.
Yeah, right. Game is game, right?
Yeah.
Jessica, please.
Court report for July, going hand in hand with what Chief just said about basically the stopped and self-initiated activity. We had one citation filed for the month of July. We disposed of 58 cases, and and revenues were $6,253. Beyond that, the workload just continues to keep plugging away at children kids. She figures out how to do one thing and then realizes there's 100 more things to figure out how to do. So, but she's doing great. So.
The only thing I might add in this segment is now's the time of year we can tell when trees are alive and trees are dead. So we're going to start looking at dead trees and sending out the mailings so that after the first frost, as the Conservation Department recommends, that we don't perpetuate disease and insects, cut it down after it's cold. So they'll notify residents and businesses that have those sent out by the
Were you going to bring up about the two gentlemen that's not the
I
house?
was going to mention in Mayor's remarks, but if you want to feel free. Because I wouldn't know how to tell them how to get to look at that. Once you go into it.
Okay. If anybody's on the Facebook page for the police department, there was two young men that stopped to help the mayor the night that the tree fell down just north of 72nd on Prairie View. And they just stopped. They didn't live in the city or anything. They just stopped and started getting a shovel and started shoveling it. And I said, "That's nice of you guys." You know, they said, "Well, they just felt like that's something they needed to do to help out." So they were probably 20s, early 20s maybe. But anyway, they're Damien and Marcus was their names. So they're if you look at that. I told them about it, that we were, asked them if we could put it on there, and so you might look at that, maybe comment. Hopefully they'll see that, because I thought that was pretty cool. Some young men that just stop and help. They didn't have any reason to do that, but that was kind of cool.
And that was very helpful because it blocked the entire Prairie View access. So we had to close the road up to north of my house and then down to 72nd. So we got it all drugged up, cut off, and dragged off. But those boys were valuable in helping me to do that.
There was a lot to shovel.
If I can upgrade it, you can see with the size trees. Thanks, Chief. Any additional questions from anybody on those items? If not, we will move on to committee reports and Alderman's remarks. Jane, since you're remote, I'll give it to you first for Alderman's remarks. Do you have anything, please?
I do not. I know that's going to surprise everyone, but I really don't have any remarks at all. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Blair? All right, committee reports, Kathy?
Okay, so the rentals at the park have been slow in August. I think a lot of it is rain and the heat and all of that. The tree that half fell during 2 or 3 weeks ago in the storm, the mayor is very quick to have that side completely taken off and the other side, because we probably would have had it in the house during the storms where we had the 3-in-1, the trifecta storm. So it is going to be brought all the way down. If you want wood, it is there. Take what you like. And, that's good. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Okay.
Oh, the dumpster.
You want to bring it up? Go ahead.
There's going to be a dumpster placed at the park for limbs, debris, things like that. No building materials, sheetrock.
Basically yard waste. So if you
Yard
have
waste,
trees
yes.
and limbs down in your yard, and you can get them over to it's a 40-foot, I think, roll off. It'll be there. I'm planning for a couple of weeks, so everybody get all the limbs that is probably still laying in their yard like mine into the dumpster, and then that's part of our contract. We get so many of those a year at no charge. So I thought it was a good time to do that. Jane?
What's the dates again? I couldn't hear.
I haven't got them. My expectation, if the board approves it tonight, we're going to call them tomorrow, so they'll either show up tomorrow or Monday.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I'm estimating a couple of weeks.
Okay,
Until it
thank
gets
you.
full.
Yeah, they made it full a week like it did last year.
Right. Any questions on the Alderman remarks or the committee reports? If not, we will move on to mayor's remarks. Staff made it easy to pass my list away from me already. We have a workman's comp audit coming up, so we're going to be providing NPR's designated auditor all our information on payroll and 941s and things like that, and contracts or certificates of insurance. That's an annual thing we do. And then we talked about the roll-off. And then the September meeting, I will be looking for and nominating a replacement for Warren, who packed up and moved to Cameron. So as you see, we have a vacancy. So I will be looking at that. And that will be for Ward 2, which is basically everything east of Woody Creek and southwest of Arbor Creek. So I will be looking for anybody that's got a year's residency that might be interested, or I may go route somebody in the volunteering. So I decided to make that announcement. Other than that, those are the only things that have not even covered as far as the city goes. So we will do the financials now.
We did have to rework the budget a little bit with the levy grant and we increased our budget by $12,305, but the insurance and workman's comp went up about $11,000. So the increase is only, so we just have to adjust. Okay, that's the only thing that was like a little bit of that.
And then in front of everyone is the year-to-date P&L management report and the July management report, and then also the pay bills resolution. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to look at that and the cash flow sheet, and then I'll ask for a motion to approve pay bills resolution 08-17-23. Any questions from the board on the P&Ls or the pay bills resolution? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
pay bills resolution 08-17-23 passes, and then that will be available. Now we will move on to the next order of business, which is, by state statute, we have to hold a public hearing every year. We do it during the Board of Aldermen meeting, usually in August, because it takes the state and the county a while to get us the information. That's why we are having this meeting a week later than normal, because we have to post that 7 days ahead of this hearing. The executive summary is, the county gives us how much the city's valuation is in the summer, and then people are allowed to challenge that number. So if your house was assessed at $350,000, you think it's only worth $300, you can go to the BOE and challenge that. And if you present the right information, they'll reduce the valuation down to whatever you guys agree to. After that, there comes out a post-BOE valuation, and that's the number we have to set our levy based on. And so that's what affected our budget, that the post-BOE valuation went up substantially compared to what we had estimated in July. And then based on that information, the state gives us a levy. And for this year, the Plattewoods City levy for 2023 taxing in November will be 0.7362 cents per $100 of evaluation. When you do all the math and do all the posting that they require, that means from last year to this year, the city will get an extra $1,273 from property taxes. So that's basically what that's about. So with those comments, I will open it up if there's any questions.
I have a quick question. So back in April, I'm only asking this because I just don't understand this.
Oh, that's fine, go ahead.
But back in like April, when we received what our house's value is assessed at, so like maybe last year, just for simple math, let's say 100,000 was last year, and then this year it's going to be 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is this approving that portion of what they sent us?
No, this is taking that information that the state and the county sent us and applying the levy to that number that the state says we cannot exceed by Hancock law, if that makes any sense.
Well, I'm trying to catch up with you there.
Yeah, that's okay.
So they set the value of my home, and then
If
there's...
you don't challenge it, yes.
Yeah, well, right. So this is the percent that Plattwoods would receive out of what we pay on that property tax. Is that correct?
In addition.
$1,273
Oh, it's in addition to
is
that?
the increase from 22-23 for 23 taxes that the city expects a gain of.
Okay. So where the percent didn't change much from last year, if your home value changed, that would be what would make you owe
More.
more. So even though it's the same, you're probably not going to be paying the same because your home value probably went up.
Right,
Right.
but the Missouri law has a cap on how much that goes up. That's why the levy can go down, and in past years it's gone down instead of up. This year it went up like 0.04%, so it's next to nothing in terms of an increase.
But if our values go up, won't the city get more money from it then?
Only what the state allows us to get. Like this year for 23,
Wow.
we'll get $1,200. Well, 13 as you round up. Last year, I think it went down. We actually lost $500 and some dollars, as I recall.
So the rest of the increased money that we pay goes elsewhere in the state for other things?
I will go into that if everybody's interested. So, on that analysis, the document you get if your house is paid off from the county on what, say you got $2,500 tax bill. If you look at it in detail, 85% of that, so let's say $2,100 goes to the school district, and then you look at the library gets like $150, the ambulance district gets $150. I can tell you that the city gets 1%. So in your case, if you had a $150,000 house evaluation, the city will get what you pay in $150 to run the city.
Okay. Just,
Is that?
yeah, that's what I was, I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, no, and that's why this hearing's here,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna explain it. So, yeah, so then if you take that example and multiply it by 175 houses, you see the city will actually get, let's just make it simple, 200 times 150, we get $2,000 to run the city
Right.
on your property taxes.
Right, right. Okay, thank you.
Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I will again ask if there's any other questions. And if there's not, when we close the hearing, we will go back to the Board of Aldermen meeting where we will revise and approve the budget based on the new levy revenue. And then we will adopt the levy officially for the city of Plattewoods at 0.7362 cents per $100 of evaluation. No other questions? We will close the public hearing and go straight to new business. With new business, Candace presented the information on what the new budget and what the discussion you just had the public levy impacts the city on. And so, if everybody's okay with this, I will combine the motion for the budget and the levy. And as the state has assigned us a levy of 0.7362 cents per $100 of evaluation, is there a motion to approve the revised 23-24 budget and the levy as presented in the hearing?
I so move.
All right, then the levy is 0.73, and we will send that to the county, and that is what they will use between now and November to send you out your tax bill. And the budget for 2023, as presented with the modifications that we discussed and projected, is approved as modified. The next item on the agenda for new business, the city again has additional committees. One is zoning, one is board of zoning adjustment. The zoning basically regulates what residents in the city can do with their properties, like how many cars can have parked in one time and this and that. The zoning adjustment says if you don't like the zoning, you have an appeal process where you can go and see if they will allow you to deviate from the zoning. With that, there's two nominations that I have to appoint for a 5-year term. The two individuals, Lee Strand and Brent Brewington, have agreed to sign up for another 5 years. So I'm going to nominate Lee Strand on Christopher Poole and Brent Brewington on Nickel Lane to do another 5-year term, which will expire in 2028. So there's no questions, comments, or anything like that. We will ask for a motion to approve.
How long have they been in those roles previously?
5 years. One of them, not these two, but the other replacement guy. So we do that. So, yeah, that is, and that's posted out front and all that, so you can always see who they are and where they are and what their address is. So, and then there's a process to go by to go through the appeal, and if you ever need one, just contact City Hall and go through that process, where you have to post it and publish it. Anybody that's within 50 feet of whatever adjustment we have to make, we have to send it home for a special process. So, is there a motion to approve those two individuals? All right, they are reappointed as recommended. The next item is, as Kathy somewhat mentioned before, with all the storms going on and the dead trees that are around the city and the ones that are in city right away, we've come up with, there's 15 trees in about 4 areas where line of sight need to be addressed. So we got a low bid from Darrell Day for 10 days of work for $14,000. So he's going to take out 15 trees and clear Red Haw, that's the valley of Red Haw, going to clear Woody Creek, Tomahawk intersection, Maple Lane, and all those places where we've got broken trees on city right away so they don't fall into cars or where trash trucks and school buses don't hit them. As Kathy mentioned, I had him get the dangerous stuff done before the next storm, so fortunately the tree at that park didn't fall over just the park. The storm came through on Sunday, and on Maple Lane we took down a tree that was hanging over that would have fallen on cars, so we got those done. but we're going to, if the board agrees, contract zero-day tree service for $14,000 to remove 15 trees and right-of-way permits. Any questions on that? Jane, any questions?
No.
All right. Is there a motion to approve day tree service for 10 days worth of work for $14,000?
Also moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion approved. We will issue that contract. Since we're on contracts, I'm going to jump to snow removal contract real quick. Mid-America Mulch, who's been doing our snow removal, had given us a bid. They were the low one. Their dollars per ton on salt and sand mix, which hardly anybody does anymore, is $170 a ton. And that's over the 3 years, about a 1.1% increase. So that seems very reasonable. And then their plowing rate is $148, and they don't plow unless we get approval from the chief or whoever the on-duty officer is, so that we're not plowing when there's an inch of snow there, because we don't need it, it'll melt the next morning. So with that, I was going to see if there was any questions or comments, and I'd like to ask for a motion to award the snow removal contract to the city of Plattewoods to Mid-America Mulch. Oh, go ahead.
And what about the snow removal that took out the foot of my front yard that you were gonna talk to me about?
In terms of, yeah, I mentioned, actually when I spoke to Mr. Ball and I spoke to Keith, what we're gonna do is purchase some of those fiberglass reflective things, and in November, Bob Ball and I and Keith are gonna drive around the city, and we're gonna mark the streets that are trouble areas where you can't really tell street from yard, and we're gonna put those things in to prevent that from happening in the future.
And fill in what they took out there?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Are they gonna fill in the lawn across the front where they took it out?
I'll look at that again. This isn't the time to have any of that repaired, but I'll look into seeing if we can get them to come back and see and straw that. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion for Mid-America Mulch for snow removal?
All second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed, hearing none, that contract is approved. The last item on new business is Renegade 10th and auto business license. So if there's any questions on that, I can pass it amongst the board. If not, is there a motion to approve the business license? Second? All right, business license approved as written. That takes care of it. As far as old business,
Mayor, we have the ordinance for to approve the levy. Just to make it easier, this is the same process we did last year. It should be in your packet, so. When we have to send this stuff back up to the county, they always ask if we have the
okay.
ordinance.
You want to read the ordinance? Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna do your introductory thing. I don't know if everyone knows what we're talking about, so.
When you do an ordinance, typically, by statute, you can read it by title twice, and then there's some discussion on it, we can get into it. If there's no discussion, then we will call for a motion to approve that ordinance number, so that we have an official ordinance that's approved by the board, that we can submit with our affidavit of posting, and that we had the hearing and approve that number. With that, Jessica?
This is proposed bill number 081723, ordinance number 867. An ordinance levying a tax and setting a tax rate on all real estate and personal property subject by law to taxation within the limits of the city of Plattewoods, Missouri for the year 2023. One more time. An ordinance levying a tax and setting a tax rate on all real estate and personal property subject by law to taxation within the limits of the city of Plattewoods, Missouri for the year 2023.
Any questions, comments, or further discussion before we ask for a motion to approve that ordinance approving the levy? If not, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 8? Yes,
867.
867.
I so move.
Larry, second. All in favor?
Aye.
And for ordinances, we need a roll call.
Yes.
Jane?
Jane Hoover, aye.
Eric Wright, aye.
None opposed, ordinance passes. Thank you, Jessica. The last bit of business that we've got that we can bring up again, since it's a complex thing. We had, I think, 3 other meetings where we're talking about the short-term rental ordinance that we want to propose. We've got a work product from the attorney. I'm just going to hit the high points on it real quick. And then we will draft that ordinance and pass it hopefully next month. We're basically going to define what a short-term rental is and what the duration of the stay is, and what, if it's less than that, won't be permitted in the city, what if it's more than that within the other defining limits will constitute a short-term rental. And then we have an existing long-term rental that's already in place. They will be similar ordinances requiring all sorts of registration and agents and things like that. But to move forward, it will define the time frame for short-term rental. It will define whether it's an occupied short-term rental place by the owner or whether it's an unoccupied and it's strictly for short-term rentals. And we want the registered agent to give us notification of that. We will also define that they have to apply for a permit, and the permit has to be approved by the city and the building commissioner, and that what the definition of a short-term rental is, whether it's a room, a whole dwelling, those types of things. It will also encompass what the fee is for registering and permitting a short-term rental. It will also hit the what I want to call it, number of these types of rentals that the city would have available to exist in the city, and top out at no more than 3 or not to exceed 2%. So that's going to be kind of the number. And that's going to be the high points. Any questions or comments on that? We're going to try to draft that up in the ordinance format. I wanted to see if there's any additional questions and continue the discussions we've had for the last several meetings. Go ahead, please.
Do we have any currently, and if we do, how many do we have?
To my knowledge, we have 2. And I think we also have 3 what I call long-term rentals, maybe 4. I'm not aware, I don't keep up on them yet. And just once a year they let us know, but off the top of my head, we got 4 long-terms and 2 short-terms.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we will proceed with that, and our hope is to have a ordinance we can read and by title by next month and go from there. With all the other items, you might have noticed that the right-of-way one wasn't in old business. We've had so much going on trying to get the levy done and all that. We will get to that after the short-term rental done, so that's still on the books to be done. With that, you don't have any other questions? Is there any other questions from the board or the chief or Jessica? Kathy or Dennis? Right. At this point then, we did have someone that had some public participation comments. Would you like the microphone or not?
No, that's fine. So I was here back after April when my...
John, I can't hear them.
Where do I need to speak?
Why don't you, Kimberly can come up.
And could they take their name, please?
Yeah, we'll do that. I wanted to make sure if I can hear or not hear first.
I don't know where the
mics are there. Kimberly Knowles is speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
So back in April, after my Tomahawk storm water project intruded over into my yard, flooded that back corner. And you told me a couple of things at that point. One was that they were going to fix that right of way along the east side of my house. And we had hoped that would get done before that upcoming holiday at the end of May, but nothing's been touched yet, and I was wondering where we are with that.
With that, because it was getting into summer and sod wouldn't stick, we pushed that off till fall. So
Okay.
that's budgeted to be done this fall.
Okay, approximately when in the fall, just so I, are you
My
talking about?
understanding is the best time to put sod is like late September when it's cooled off to late October.
Okay, very good. And they're gonna grade it first, right? Before
Yeah,
they-
the bid we got is to grade it, smooth it, and sod it. I don't know exactly how far north up a certain distance, and then sod what they grade.
Right, okay. So then, to the flooding issue, when I spoke to you, and Tom spoke to you also, while they were putting this in, and I saw that 8-inch pipe down there going into this big culvert, and I said, John, that's not enough, that's not big enough to handle all this water. And you indicated to he and I that this was what the engineering plan called for and what the hydrology reports called for. But I've sent sunshine requests to you guys and you didn't have them. You referred me to the county. I sent sunshine requests